Yes, you are welcome back to class. The program is still CPD, Continuous Professional Development Program for Teachers, and it has been so interesting and exciting on this platform. We are considering what every teacher must know series. And in this series, we want to enlighten the teachers, we want to educate the teachers, we want to expose the teachers, we want to equip the teachers with the latest, with the emerging, with the evolving, with the contemporary, with the current, and even with the future trends of education globally. So that is what we are set to achieve. And I'm sure at the end of this whole process, at the end of this whole program, as many teachers as will have followed this program back to back will discover that their careers can never be the same again. Yeah, in our previous class, we looked at attaining competence in the teaching profession. That is what we're considering currently, and it is a very loaded one. We have looked at characteristics of a competent teacher in our previous lesson. We have seen this from three major perspectives. Number one, knowledge of the subject matter. Number two, knowledge of the delivery methods. And number three, knowledge of the learners. We look at it from the angle of knowing what to teach, knowing how to teach, and knowing who to teach. We did a general overview of these three broad characteristics, and I want to say if you were not around, if you are not in the class for that particular lesson, you will need to revisit that class because it is where we laid the foundation, and it is upon that foundation and bedrock that we are laying the lessons that will follow. So I will seriously advise that you go over that previous lesson for you to be able to flow well and relate to this current one. Yeah. So today we're going to be taking the first one, that is knowledge of the subject matter, knowing what to teach. We have said the previous lesson that many teachers know what to teach. Some teachers know how to teach, where only a few teachers know who to teach. So let's start from the first level, knowledge of the subject matter. Like it has been previously discussed, this is the beginning of teaching. This is what I call the cradle, the genesis of teaching. This is where teaching evolves from. You cannot just progress, you cannot move forward if you don't have knowledge of the subject matter, if you don't have knowledge of what to teach. You see, the beauty of teaching lies in the fact that the topic you want to teach, you have chewed it, you have digested it, you have internalized it, and you have mastered it so well that coming to class, you can reproduce that material without even looking at your notebook or textbook or any reference material. At that level, you are a master, and that is what will form the chord between you and the students. Let's begin like this. I'll be asking about three questions in today's class, and we're going to be providing solutions to those questions. Number one, how do we identify a teacher who does not have the knowledge of the subject matter? I talked about an unfortunate incident that happened when we went to supervise and assess a particular teacher who was teaching orphan. I'm sure you will remember from our previous lesson. How do we identify such teachers? What are the marks of incompetence in the area of knowledge of subject matter? And how do we know that this particular teacher does not know what he is teaching? Number one, over dependence on lesson notes and reference materials. And that's number one. If we enter the classroom, you see what I've done in my years of supervision and assessment of teachers, like I said in the previous lesson, we have supervised over 500 schools in the course of this project. And like I used to say, we have seen the good, we have seen the bad, and we have seen the ugly. One of the things I used to do is I tell a teacher, start the lesson after writing the topic on the board and doing all the preliminary rituals, board compartmentalization, data margin, and all of that. The next thing I will do is bring your textbook, bring your lesson note. Bring your content. Now begin to teach. I've been able to gauge how many minutes can the teacher teach without holding book. That would measure knowledge of what to teach. It does not necessarily measure knowledge of what to teach. It does not necessarily measure knowledge of how to teach, but it does measure knowledge of what to teach. So I've seen many teachers within 3 to 5 minutes after you have collected all the materials from them, they begin to stammer, they begin to sweat. Upper jaw and lower jaw begin to fight each other. The two knees begin to knock each other. Obviously, they do not know what to teach. So, how do you know a teacher who does not know what to teach? Number one, over dependence on lesson notes and reference materials. What is another mark that a teacher is not well prepared and has not mastered what to teach? Number two is over dependence on brilliant students. See, some teachers are over dependent on exceptionally brilliant students in the class. And these things happen so psychologically, so emotionally, you don't even know when it is happening. Many teachers are not aware that they have stylishly transferred the control of the class into the hands of some a few exceptionally brilliant students at the expense of other students in the classroom. And this is most unfortunate. It is how you know a teacher who does not know what to teach. Now, let's break it down a little bit. You are in the class, you have a student called Olu. Olu is so brilliant, he's always scoring 4 in classwork, 30 over 30 in CA, 90 over 100 in general examination. You have come to trust Olu so much so that one day you stumble across a word IMF that you did not prepare for, and you are trying to, you just forgot what F is. You say IMF is either International Monetary Fund or International Monetary Foundation, and that seems to catch you unawares. You are not just, and then you ask the student because you want to be a sincere teacher. Well, IMF is not part of what we're teaching today, but then we stumble across it, and I know it's International Monetary F. What I can remember is whether it is fund or foundation. And I would raise up his hand and Olu said, Uncle, it is foundation. And he said, Olu, are you sure? Olu said, I'm very sure, Uncle. It is International Monetary Foundation. And because it is Olu that said it, the teacher will go to the board and write IMF, International Monetary Foundation. But that would be very, very wrong. Even when you're asking Olu, Olu is still saying, yes, Uncle. I still watched it yesterday on CNN when uh, US president was talking to the IMF officials and all of that. That is what happens when you don't master what to teach. And when such practical instances present themselves, what do? You can actually ask the student to give you a minute or two to quickly do your background check. If the school policy where you are allows you to contact your phone, you can easily go through Google and check out the answer. If not, tell the students you're going to make your findings, and before school runs out, you will come and tell them. It is, you lose nothing by being sincere, you lose nothing by being humble. It is better you don't teach a concept than you teach a wrong concept and produce half-baked students. Now, how do you know a teacher who does not know what to teach? Number three, avoidance of questions. When you say a teacher who does not know what to teach, you will see such a teacher who will not want to tolerate question in the class. And the rationale behind this is very simple. Ladies and gentlemen, it is easier to cram a lecture. It is easier to cram a whole lesson. I mean, you know what you want to teach. You know that you want to teach types of soil, clay soil, loamy soil, sandy soil, and you want to take properties of soil. That one is also easy to do for each of the three categories that you want to teach. But you cannot cram answers to the questions because you wouldn't know the angles from where the student will be asking the questions. And that is why those teachers that are not too good, those teachers who are not too good in the area of knowing what to teach, they teach all through the class 40 minutes without sparing 5 minutes for question. And if any student decide to ask question like this, oh, the other side of the anger comes up. You see them so much worked up. And if at all they are going to answer any question, they will make sure that they are close to where their reference materials are. Over time, the students have known such teachers, and the students have known how bad or how poor those teachers are. Do you know what the students call you behind you? Many of you will be surprised to find out. You see, when we were in the city, when you are in your staff room, you discuss the students. It's a normal process. When the students are in the classroom also, they discuss their teachers. And there are some of you that they call uncle assignment. There are some of you that they call uncle homework. You know how you got that name? They have discovered over time that when they ask you a question, you will have a way of parrying the question and you will tell them, I give you that as homework. They ask another question, I give you that as assignment. So over time, they know that you are not just competent when it comes to that. And it is most unfortunate. You know, it's just like a teacher just finished solving a particular mathematical question and got 25. And when he got 25 as the final answer, 25 kilometer per hour, and I asked the student, everybody chorus is 25 kilometer per hour. All of them chorus 25 kilometer per hour. And Olu, the most brilliant student in the class, raised up his hand and said, Uncle, that answer is not correct. For a teacher who knows what he is teaching, he will look back, look at the processes, look at the steps that led him to 25 kilometer per hour, and took his decision. But not for a teacher who does not know what he's teaching, not for a teacher who has unknowingly transferred the authority of the class to Olu, and we will just ask all the students in the class, sorry, everybody, nobody is above mistake. Please quickly, you raise it and put 20 kilometers per hour. Olu, are you sure? Olu said, I'm sure. And that is okay. But Ayo decided to go over the processes and the steps. And Ayo raised up her hand. Ayo is another very brilliant student in the class. And Ayo said, Uncle, don't mind Olu. What you wrote before is very, very correct. When we got to this stage, we got 300 plus 325. That gave us 625. We took square root of 625 and that gave us 25 kilometers. Uncle, I think you are right. Olu just did not get it. And the uncle will ask Ayo again. Are you sure? I said, I'm very sure. Okay, everybody, nobody is above mistake. Rub it off again and put 25 kilometers per hour. Over time, such a teacher will lose his respect. The second question I want to ask now is, what are the benefits of knowing what to teach? I know you will be saying where we are going. Real part of this teaching is how to teach. I agree with you. And from what we said in the previous lesson, you will have also seen that there is so much to know that who to teach. I agree with you. But we will not rush until we are done with this aspect. So, what are the benefits of knowing what to teach? Because without knowing what to teach, you cannot lay any other thing on it. Number one is confidence. So when a teacher knows what to teach, he's confident. He can even put his hand in the pocket in the classroom and begin to teach. Do you know the confidence that comes from when you enter the class and you say, today we are teaching a definition and concept of economics. And you say economics is a branch of social science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means, which are alternative uses. You did not even look at any material, you did not look at any book yet. It was as if you are gisting. What happens is there is a connection between you and the student. You maintain eye contact with them. Nothing is interrupting them psychologically, emotionally. They are just connected and glued to you. And you say, well, economics is a branch of social science. It is not a physical science like that, but then it is not art. You explain that. We study human behavior as a relationship between, you now take ends, you take scarce. Human wants are many and unlimited, but resources to satisfy them are scarce and limited. So as a result of that, you're going to be making a choice. But you cannot make a choice without having a list of all your needs, either in ascending order or descending order. And that will be your scale of preference. When you make your choice, you pick one and you forgo another, just like we talked about the guy that wanted to buy a pair of short and belt in our previous lesson. And the cost of alternative for gone is opportunity cost. You did this within 3 minutes, and the whole class is agog. They understand the concept of definition and concept of economics. That confidence is there because you know what you want to do. And you know what? Confidence, competence begets confidence. Maybe I will take that again. Competence begets confidence. That is, if you are competent, you'll be confident. This is not only in teaching, it is in all fields of life. Even the auto mechanic, the roadside mechanic, the roadside vulcanizers, go and look at the competent ones among them. They are always very, very competent. They are always very, very competent. And that is very essential for you to know. You also need to know there is a cord, a string or a rope that binds you to your student all the time. And that is the rope or string of trust and confidence. Once that trust is broken, the teaching learning process will be seriously impaired. The trust and confidence that our teacher knows it. The day they begin to discover that you are teaching wrong concept, that day they will lose their confidence in you. And when you begin to teach the right things, they will still have their doubts. So, number one benefit of knowing what to teach is the confidence a teacher exudes. The fact that you can get to class without holding any paper and you are discussing boys' law and child's law. And as you get to class, you write boys' law on the board and you say, "Good morning, class. We are discussing gaseous laws today and we are looking at boys' law and child's law." You have not held any paper, you have not held any book. You say, "Boys' law said that the volume of a given mass of gas is inversely proportional to pressure when temperature is constant, while child's law said that the volume of a given mass of gas is directly proportional to temperature when pressure is constant." These are the two laws we're going to be treating today, and I can assure you it's going to be very interesting. That confidence that you exude and that you will build in the students is one major benefit of knowing what to teach. Number two benefit of knowing what to teach is effective class management. When you know what to teach, you're able to manage the class very well. Am I saying that there will be no class management problem at all? No, I'm not saying that. Every class will always have the peculiarity of a class, and students will ever remain students. Children will ever remain children. Even all of us, if we are meeting physically now in a class, as old as we are, we'll still behave like students once we become students. So there will still be those classroom and pranks and all of that. But then, under classroom management, we say is the ability of the teacher to reduce or to remove every interference in active teaching learning process. And that is very, very, very important to remove every possible interference, to remove every possible undue interference in teaching learning process. How are you able to do that? In education, we have 5 ways to do that. That is competence, that is discipline, that is punishment, that is motivation, and that is reinforcement. These are the 5 tools that are available to be able to, these are the 5 tools that are available to be able to manage a classroom properly. However, if you master competence as a teacher, you solve 50% of classroom problems. 50% of classroom problems is solved. And that is why it is so important. So when you know how to, what to teach, you're able to manage the classroom better. Another benefit of knowing what to teach is respect and authority. When you know what to teach, the students will respect you. I mean, you come to class and you are teaching longitude and latitude, or you are teaching bearing, for instance. And as you are teaching bearing, you are able to give them the quadrants, you are able to give them the 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 4 cardinal points, and without looking at any book, without looking at any material, you are done with it. You are teaching angles of elevation and depression. And I mean, good morning, class. How are you today? Everybody look up. When you look up, what do you see? I see the ceiling. The angle which your eyes form to the ceiling, to the horizontal, is referred to as angle of elevation. Now everybody look down. What do you see? I see the floor. The angle which your eyes make to the floor to the horizontal is angle of depression. Without looking at any book, it gives respect. One thing I have discovered from many teachers in Africa is low self-esteem, especially as compared to other professionals in maritime, in banking sector, in oil and gas, in telecommunications. And the fact that they are not effectively remunerated like professionals in other fields make many teachers to look down on themselves, and that is most unfortunate. See, I am proud to introduce myself as a teacher anywhere I go, anywhere I find myself. By the grace of God, I've had a privilege of traveling around the world, and what took me all over the world has been no other thing, teaching. All our trips to Europe, all our trips to Asia, where we're understanding different educational systems of the world. I'm always proud to introduce myself as a teacher from Nigeria. So when you know what to teach, you have that respect and authority. I have seen some things among teachers in Africa, especially those in private schools. I've seen two things that I'm not particularly pleased about. Number one is the way many private school teachers become like glorified houseboys to their parents, to the parents of their students. You are doing home lesson and you cannot accord some measure of respect to yourself. You are doing home lesson, they give you beans, you take, they give you rice, you take, they give you yogurt, you take. No self-respect because you believe that you need to cut the favor of the parent for you to get to the top, but that's not true. By the time we are done with this training, you will discover there is a way you can take your lesson. There is a level you can take your teaching to that you will be noticed. Another thing I have discovered is the teachers who do not become uh, glorify houseboys to their parents or to the parents of their students. Some of them become sycophants to their proprietors and school owners. They begin to run down other teachers. They begin to badmouth other teachers, all to get favor from the proprietor. And such favor will not last because any shortcut you try to make to get favor will eventually cut you short. What gives respect to a teacher is knowing what to teach. By the time you do all that you do, and the uncles from universities of those students are coming and they are telling them that you have taught a wrong thing, it is the greatest shame and slap on the face of any teacher. Now, these are just brief points that I want to talk about. Before we round up today's session, because we're rounding up today's session on knowing what to teach, let me ask the last question. If knowing what to teach is this important, then how can a teacher master what to teach in the classroom? How can a teacher master what to teach in the classroom? Number one is research. Never stop researching. Never stop using Google. Never stop using Meta AI. Never stop using Wikipedia. Stop using Autopedia. Never stop using Quora. Never stop using research handles. You see, it's unfortunate that many teachers will buy data and spend all their time on TikTok, Instagram, making money for entertainers and not boosting their knowledge in any way. It's so unfortunate that your hard-earned money, you use it to subscribe, get data, and you are using it to just watch skits. And those content creators are making millions out of you, and you are draining your own funds. Use your data to get knowledge. Like what we are doing now is a way by which you develop yourself. Keep researching. Number two will be sound preparation. Never assume. Assumption is one of the killers of greatness. Never assume that I've done this over the years. There's nothing for me to do again. Enter the class casually. That's why a new student from a particular place will come, throw a question at you, and then destabilize you in the classroom. And then humility and sincerity. Ask questions. Whatever you don't know, whatever you don't master, you are doing electrolysis and you're having issue with anode and cathode, before you enter the class and mix up anode and cathode, electrolyte, and all of that, ask a fellow teacher. Let them put you through. You lose nothing by being humble. You lose nothing by being sincere. Another one is appetite for knowledge. Develop a very strong appetite for knowledge. Just never stop learning, because what you thought was correct years ago are no more correct today. Take, for instance, before now, in agricultural science, when they say what is problem of agricultural science in West Africa, we will say lack of basic amenities. We say lack of storage facilities. We say lack of infrastructure. But over time, that has been reviewed. You don't say lack any longer. You now say it is inadequate or insufficient. By the time the curriculum was saying lack of, African countries did not have those facilities at all. But now African countries have those facilities, but they are not in sufficient quantity. So we don't say lack any longer. There are many concepts. There was a time we have Pluto in the solar system. But Pluto has been removed from the solar system for more than 2 decades now. And unfortunately, some teachers are still singing Pluto as members of the part of the solar system. So you need to really, really upgrade appetite for knowledge. Like I said at the beginning of this training, the whole essence is to expose us to latest trend, to expose us to emerging trends, to expose us to evolving trends. There's difference between emerging trends and evolving trends. Emerging trends, evolving trends are those trends that have been there before you were born, before I was born, but they kept evolving. Like we know the way we used to rub a blackboard in those days, but that evolved into whiteboard. Whiteboard has evolved into smartboard, into interactive board. That is, those are evolving trends. But we have emerging trends. Those are the trends that were not there at all. AI was not there at all before now. Robotics not there before now. So the whole essence of this program is to expose us to both evolving and emerging trends, contemporary, current, and future trends in education. So have strong appetite for knowledge, and it will help you to master what to teach. Don't forget, a golden fish has no hiding place. If a teacher is good, he will be discovered. Where will you be discovered? I may not be able to answer that question. When exactly will you be discovered? I may not be able to answer that question. But one question I can answer is, if you are good enough, you will definitely be discovered. So work on yourself, research more, never assume, prepare soundly, and have strong appetite for knowledge. Be humble and be sincere enough to acknowledge the areas that you are not good enough. Based on this session, we have our evaluation questions, like I've told you. It will be sent to your school administrators, and your school administrator will be administering it to you. If you pass the evaluation questions and you beat the cutoff mark, you'll be eligible to apply for the certificate. And further discussion will be on our on our WhatsApp group. So if you are not on a WhatsApp group, just check the phone number in the comment section, and then you can join the WhatsApp group where we take further discussions. You will have your certificate from this CPD, and it is going to add value to your CV, add value to your resume. Now we are done with what to teach. In the next class, we are going to take how to teach. And this is where many people are looking forward to. How do we teach in the classroom? We will take it from two dimensions, and your teaching career cannot just remain the same again. I remain your facilitator for this CPD program. My name is Adibari Gujobi. See you in the next class. Bye.